that I don't just get to paint whatever I want. Sometimes I do commissions, and this is one of those commissions. It's a wedding painting obviously, so I wanted to do a good job, but I was a bit worried about the painting being a bit too sugary sweet. So this video is the story of trying to find the balance between the sweet painting that they think they want and the interesting painting I was trying to do. And I thought my way into this was through this tree. I wanted the tree to be as important as the couple. That does run the danger of taking it away from what it's supposed to be from the viewpoint of the client. In the end, it would be about a balance between the two. This video is the story of making that painting and finding that balance. So I started by proposing a crop, really pushing this idea of this amazing tree. Worked on my sketchbook a little bit and made this little sketch that I could send to the client. The client was the auntie of, I think, the bride. So I showed this to her and said, yeah, I want to do this. It's all about the tree. The tree is kind of the focus and the couple on the side. I didn't say all this, but I suppose the tree is some kind of symbol. I'm kind of interested in trees, the lives of trees. They last such a long time, especially trees like this, beyond our knowing. I like that. But the other thing about this sketch was just kind of establishing like the key principle of the painting. The tree's in the middle of the composition, but the highest value is the bride and the darkest value is the groom. And that was basically it. But I had a tree in mind. I'd seen this painting, and I just loved this tree. So I wanted this tree to have something of that tree. And that was my plan. So this was the canvas. That's 550mm square. That's a lot bigger than I normally paint. As everyone says, that's a big and intimidating canvas. So I toned it in this transparent yellow oxide. The idea behind this was twofold. One, it helps me judge values better because the background is no longer the brightest bright. And two, hopefully it'll give the painting a slightly yellowy glow. So now all that's left is to actually sit down and paint the painting. So it's time to prepare the studio for that first painting session. I'm lucky enough that I can get 2 whole days painting per week. And I do it in this little studio in the garden. It's an old garage from the 50s. So it's not very wide, just the width of a car. It's small, but I like it. And I think my little setup here is finally working. I've got my tabletop easel and I've really got settled into it. It allows me to have this vertical palette by the side, which again I really like. I toned the back of the glass grey so I could judge values a bit better. And then I have the reference off to the left. A more professional camera operator would have moved that cable, but that's just what you have to deal with around here. Just can't get the staff. So all I'm doing here is an initial block-in. I'm not really fussed about the colours, I'm just trying to get the shapes organised and composed and something down that's in the right ballpark, so I can get a sense of the painting that I'm trying to find. One painful thing that I will note watching this back is how I really should have just got a really big brush. That's just a function of me being too used to working on smaller paintings. A bigger brush here is what I needed. And it would have helped me, not just now, but at the end of the painting too, as you'll probably see. But this is another reason why I love making these videos. I don't just make a post-mortem on the final painting, but I analyse the process, which is the more important thing to get right. It's not really what you do, it's how you do it. And I think there's a lot of mistakes I can learn from here. As you can see, in between making that sketch and this painting, I slightly chickened out a wee bit, partly through conversation with the client. We decided to make it so the tree filled the right hand side of the canvas and the couple the left. The tree being in the centre was too much. Although I knew I had more to paint, by the end of this blocking I was getting a bit worried. It wasn't looking exactly how I wanted it to, and especially the tree just wasn't as rich as that reference I had. I knew I needed to change up what I was doing, so I got one of those rigger brushes. I do this quite a lot, but not for trees, it's usually about a portrait. Anyway, I got one of these rigger brushes and I just started drawing the tree, because I noticed in that reference painting there was quite a lot of line work, and I thought maybe that's what I needed. And you know what? I think I was right. At the same time, I was aware that if I try and make this painting all about the tree, and I kind of mess up the tree, then I am in a bit of trouble. I'd started to put in some of the high chroma bits in the tree. Really liked pushing that red. Kind of did something against the green. But I do think at this point in the tree, when the greys went in and these chromatic greys started to appear, that's when it started to come to life. And I want to talk a bit about what I'm getting at here with this tree. I like trees because they're, in many ways, trees like this anyway, are beyond our ken. You know, it's kind of like beyond our lifetime. I've got this book, this kid's book that I read to my daughter, about the life of an oak tree, spanning, you know, like 1,000 years, all through world wars and Normans and Tudors. This tree's growing. And yeah, there's something about that, something about it being, you know, beyond the length of a human relationship or a human life. It's just something of a wee reminder that even though this painting is about this couple, the world is much bigger than us and our little human relationships. So at this point, the area of the painting that's really troubling me, and probably you watching this too, is that top left. All that foliage in the background with the sky peeking through. You know, I wanted it to feel light, ethereal, but it just looked turgid and rubbish at the moment. But to be fair, I hadn't really tackled it yet. I'd been putting it off. I don't do a whole lot of landscape painting, so this is me just trying to do my best to make it work. I don't really have anything to say, I just did something. If it didn't work, I tried again. That's all I did. I have a great extended analogy that I use for talking about knowing when a painting's finished. I say it's like finding a picnic spot, but I'm going to save that for another video. So here's the finished thing. Some details on that foliage, trying to get the layer in. I think it kind of worked. Here it is framed. So I took the painting through to Edinburgh and delivered it. We met outside the museum. She didn't open it when I gave it to her because we were on the street and it was packaged up. She sent me a message afterwards saying that she was really pleased with it, and so were the couple. And it was so much better than it looked in the photos that I sent her. Which is good, I guess, but everyone always says that. It does make me think I need to get better at taking photographs. So I don't really know if this video even makes it look like how it really looks. But either way, that was it. That was the end. And time to do the next one.